Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sean here for another movie review, and today we're going to be talking about the 2006 film 300. The film was directed by Zack Snyder, written by Zack Snyder, Kurt Johnstad, and a few others. It stars Gerald Butler, Lena Headey, Dominic West, David Wenham, Vincent Reagan, Michael Fassbender, Tom Wisdom, Andrew Pleven, Andrew Tiernan, Rodrigo Santoro, and others. The logline plot synopsis is: King Leonidas of Sparta and a force of 300 men fight the Persians at Thermopylae in 480 BC. So yes, well, everybody, we've done it. We're big time YouTubers now. We've broken the 300 subscriber threshold. So what better way to celebrate than to talk about the film 300? See, I'm waiting a few days though, because gain 2 subs, lose a sub. This is the story of Zoobox. Depends on what we're talking about that week, Depends how I feel about a movie. People are very sensitive about politics and fucking movies. Like, I don't ever want to hear this person's opinion again because they said something bad about something I like or whatever. But I want you all to know we did it together, you and me, or whatever stock thing somebody says when they reach a significant number of subs. It's because of you people. It's because of you and our time together that we are here today. So thanks, everybody, for being part of the Zoobox magic. Oh, and how magical it is. But anyway, so 300. So I had been familiar with the comic book before I saw the movie, before the movie came out, before I knew there was ever going to be a movie. It's a Frank Miller comic book from the late 90s. And it's a pretty sparse one. It's kind of in the tradition. He did another one around the same time called Hard Boiled, which I actually really love. So yeah, I had read the comic book. And a funny story, like, I used to work in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I used to take the red line into Cambridge for work, and then I'd have to, first I'd have to take the purple line to get from Leominster to get to Cambridge and whatever. But there was a bookstore right outside the red line, so I used to go and buy books all the time. And at the time, I was kind of getting into comic books. I got into comic books kind of late. But I wasn't like a weekly or monthly reader or whatever. I was just somebody that I'd buy like trade paperbacks and the graphic novels, and I'd look up, what are the classic ones? What are the ones that I feel like I should be reading and stuff like that. So I used to go there after work and buy stuff, and I was going to buy 300 at one point. And for whatever reason, there was like a long line. It was like a 25-minute line for books that day. I guess it was the after work rush. Everybody needed to go get their books. This is before Kindle and stuff, you couldn't just download it. And I was like, I'll just take a peek. I'll just start reading it. By the time I get up to the counter, I had finished the book. I had finished the book in that half hour. So I kind of just put it down and then didn't buy it. I kind of wish that I did, just for posterity, just to have it. And because I do like Frank Miller overall. So I wish I owned it, but I don't anymore. Now it's kind of expensive to buy now. I think I saw it for like $40 on eBay or something. I was like, wow, guess I should have got that when I could have got it for 15. Well, fuck me. But yeah, so I had read it. I was familiar with it. When I heard that the movie was going to be made, I was definitely looking forward to it. And part of that was because of Zack Snyder. He had only done one other movie before this. I'm not sure what he was doing before all that, but he had done the remake of Dawn of the Dead, which is a movie that, against all odds, I actually really enjoyed. Like, I went into thinking I wasn't going to like it, thinking it was going to be a bad movie, and then ended up really enjoying it. I remember my dad and I, big kind of horror genre people, we went to see the movie opening night. And we were so pleasantly surprised because we were just fans of the original, the Romero original. So it was cool. Like, he did an interesting thing with the material. So I was like, okay, with 300, I'd definitely watch another movie by this dude. Could be interesting. Like, 300's this kind of crazy, macho, epic. Very curious to see what he would do. And what 300 kind of signifies in the career of Zack Snyder is kind of the start of his in-house style. He's very stylish, very kind of beautiful, cinematic, almost kind of like music video things. Everything's almost very painterly. Like, you could take a still frame from a lot of Zack Snyder movies at almost any moment, and it's a beautiful image. Like, he really has a sense of authorship, and he's able to utilize kind of technology in a way that I find kind of fascinating and interesting, and it enhances it. Like, it enhances everything. Like, he, especially with 300, like, he successfully creates Frank Miller's world. Frank Miller's, like, mind's eye of what he thinks that time period looked like. And it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous movie. And I was surprising enough, like it holds up to this day. Could you think with something that would be so like CGI heavy, maybe wouldn't, like it would just look bad? And I think it's so stylized. It's so stylish that it really just has kind of aged pretty well. Has stood the test of time. I'd say like another Frank Miller adaptation that probably, at least visually, stands the test of time, like Sin City. Like it's so hyper stylized that it doesn't really matter that it's all CGI and they don't go overboard with it. You are aware that you're looking at something hyper real, not realistic at all, and that's part of the deal. It's part of the package. And I don't know if he's ever been more successful at it than with 300. I mean, 300, this stuff is like panel for panel, frame for frame, not including the stuff that he added to kind of fill out the story more. But it is the comic book, and it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous looking movie. One of my favorite things is like Leonidas when he's like climbing up the mountain to talk to the Oracle, and the cape's flowing, and it's all crazy, and it just looks fucking fantastic. It's more real than real, you know? Honestly, I wish he would have done something like that. I think I mentioned this when I was talking about the Zack Snyder DC movies. Like, I want him just to do The Dark Knight Returns. Just do that in a vacuum and do it, like, blow it out in the same way he does with 300, Watchmen, you know, etc. Sucker Punch. Do it in that way. Just fucking blow it out. Make it this crazy, like, fantasy-esque comic book movie. Like, I would love to see that, but I guess that's neither here nor there. So when I saw this, I saw it like opening day, just like most people, or maybe the opening weekend. I don't know if I saw it opening day. You know, I didn't see it opening day because I remember hearing a lot of people that I knew that I didn't like, a lot of douchebags. I think it was around the time I first moved to South Carolina, because I would have been about 19 when this came out. I was 19 when this came out. And yeah, I didn't like a lot of the people that like were in my new social circle because I just met a lot of douchebags from work and stuff. But they're all like, "Oh, dude, it's so badass. It's the coolest thing you've ever seen. It's so macho." So I had this like seed planted in my head, like, fucking A, dude. Like, what the fuck? So I went to see the movie. I remember overall, like, I was like, "Oh, it is okay. Like, it's an okay movie." It is the cool stuff is cool. The boring stuff is very boring. The characters are, you know, they're all two-dimensional. They're not very well drawn. It's not a deep story. It's pretty straightforward. You know, it has subtext and everything about the nature of loyalty and sacrifice and brotherhood and duty. Like, all that stuff is definitely there, and it's not even really hidden. It's pretty explicit about it, but all that stuff's there, to be fair to the movie, right? But at the time, I was just kind of like, that was okay. Like, but that didn't stop me, of course, because I have psychological problems. I like, bought it on DVD. I bought it on Blu-ray years later. So I always had the copy around. I've watched it, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 times in my life. There is something about it. It just keeps kind of drawing me back. And I would say on this watch, it had probably been 5 or 6 years since I'd actually watched it in recent times. I liked it probably more than I've ever liked it before. And I think a lot of that is kind of developing the sense of who Zack Snyder is as a filmmaker and a storyteller over the years. Like, I have a better sense of like kind of what he's picking at and what he's trying to accomplish. And I think having that frame of reference actually makes the movie more successful. Because you can really hone in on who Zack Snyder is as a filmmaker. You know, back in 2006, it was kind of nebulous. You kind of didn't know what to think about Zack Snyder as a filmmaker or what he was kind of, what his proclivities were. Because, you know, if you go from Dawn of the Dead to 300, that's a huge fucking difference. That's like a huge gap, right? So, you know, I've really warmed up to it over the years. And I always liked the performances. Like I said, I've always liked the style of the movie. But I was able to really kind of just settle in and I feel like enjoy it more than I ever had before. It's not a perfect movie. I do think some of it is a little bit of a slog. Honestly, I would wish that this was like a tight 90 minutes. As much as I understand the stuff why they do with like what Queen Gorgo, Lena Headey's character, and Dominic West, and all of the political intrigue and all the stuff that's going on in Sparta, like back home while Leonidas and his soldiers are, you know, on the front lines meeting the Persians. it doesn't actually do much for the story. It doesn't actually add very much. It's just kind of there. It feels like filler. It still feels like filler. I've always thought it felt like filler. Well, I don't think any of it's like particularly bad. I don't. I really don't. And they were trying to add some dimension. They're also trying to add like a female character that was kind of strong and was willing to sacrifice just as much as her husband Leonidas. Like they are a pair. They're a team. You know, he's the king of Sparta. She's its queen. Like I get it. Like I understood that stuff. But there's something that I feel like might have been more impactful or just more focused. If it was more focused just on the plight of the 300 and do that for 90 minutes, I feel like you might have a slightly stronger movie. That's my opinion. This is the beginnings of Zack Snyder being long-winded. You know, as we all know now, like every Zack Snyder movie has a theatrical cut and then an extended cut that's like 20 minutes longer, even when they don't need to. Well, in fairness, a lot of times they do need to. Maybe the one that's sticking out is like Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch did not need an extended edition, but there sure as fuck is one. And I own it, of course, because I have a problem. But like, yeah, I wish this was a little shorter. I wish it was just a little more focused on the dudes. But let's talk about some of the particulars. I really love Gerard Butler in this movie. He's a great Leonidas. He's given this great, almost like campy, over-the-top performance, but it just sings with the material. It sings inside of Zack Snyder's vision of this world. Lena Headey, as much as I don't find her stuff that compelling, I think she's fantastic in this movie. Dominic West is also really great. Fun fact, Michael Fassbender's first movie. First on-screen performance, I believe. Am I wrong about that? I don't think so. Let's see. Let's scroll back. No, it's not. Oh, wait. His first film in a movie. He had done a lot of TV shows. Where is it? 300. Yeah, he was more of a TV show guy. He was in television. He was even in Pierrot. Wow. Yeah, because I was actually kind of surprised to learn that because I've always liked his movie Hunger. The one about the Irish Republican. Bobby Sand leads the inmates of a Northern Irish prison in a hunger strike, which is directed by Steve McQueen. Not that Steve McQueen. But for some reason, I always thought that was kind of his debut, but I guess I was wrong. It's 300. This is the first time he was ever in a movie. And he's okay. You know, he doesn't have a big part. Actually, most people don't have very big parts. It is like, you know, what's his name? The betrayer, the Ephialtes, the hunchback guy. Like, he's actually got a lot of screen time. Xerxes, Rodrigo Santoro, who's great, actually, as Xerxes. It says, and if I remember correctly, I remember reading something a while ago that he was trying to bring that Yul Brynner energy, that, you know, Yul Brynner from The King and I and 10 Commandments. I think he kind of does. I actually really like him in the movie. But definitely, you know, Gerard Butler is very much the star of the film. Yeah, but he's lucky that he has such a great supporting cast. Like, everybody is great. Everybody is there to serve that material. It feels very egoless in a weird way because you kind of have to be there to support Gerard Butler specifically because of the type of performance that he has chosen to give in, his choices. If people were not kind of vibing with that, or maybe they're more egotistical, trying to be as big as him, or maybe it wouldn't work as well. But, you know, and also I love, like I said, I've talked about it, you know, a bunch earlier. I love the look of the movie because it reminds me of what, like, I really love the aesthetic of like older 80s, 90s action movies where you have like a set and then a matte painting in the background to kind of build out the environment. It has this really like painterly kind of handmade feel to it, right? I just really love the aesthetic of that. And 300, out of most movies I've seen, feels like the most like natural extension of that, in a sense where it's there to, you know, it looks, you know, hyper real, obviously, but it feels like a matte painting for some reason because you have very clearly these people on like a set. You like the ground, you see the ground, you'll see a rock here, you'll see the body of the wall bodies. The wall made of bodies behind them. Like, you see stuff like that. So there's these tangible texture elements to it. And then you have kind of like the beautiful vistas and the golden ocean that they're juxtaposed with. And I just really love the look of that. I just think it looks very cool. in a very superficial, shallow way. And it's one of the best examples, I think, of kind of bringing back almost that old matte painting style of filmmaking, while also being kind of modern, especially well, for 2006 modern. But yeah, I really love that. I actually really like the score of this movie. Who did the score, actually? I forgot to look before I started recording. But who did the score? The score, costume design, music, Tyler Bates. What else has Tyler Bates done? It's a really great score. It's like a classical movie score too, which I also enjoy. That also kind of incorporates almost like a propulsive hip hop kind of vibe to it at times. What has he done? Composer. Yeah, he's worked on the new Creep Show, which is not good. Hobbs and Shaw, John Wick 3, The Punisher series, Deadpool 2, The Public, 24 Hours to Live. Well, you know, I don't know if he did Samurai Jack. He's done a lot of episodes, 10 episodes of Samurai Jack. He did very good work. I think he must have done the last season that they did. Yeah, he did the John Wick 2, John Wick the first one. Okay. Well, it definitely has like an action movie guy vibe about the movies he does. Super Sucker Punch, he worked with him again. He's done some video games. He did Halloween 2. He did the music for Watchmen. Yeah, the music for Watchmen is okay. Especially the best piece of music is what's his name? The blue guy. Dr. Manhattan is on the moon, like reminiscing about his past. The whole sequence leading up to his creation, the origin story, basically. It's a great piece of music. But anyways, so yeah, I liked the score. He's kind of all over the place, man. He's a working composer for sure. I mean, let's go back to what is his earliest ones. I've never heard of any of these. Not Like Us, Alien Avengers, Born Bad, Alien Avengers 2. The first big one he has is a Stallone movie, Get Carter. Shriek, If You Know What I Did Last Summer, which is like a shitty knockoff of the Scary Movies. Scary Movie series. Half Past Dead, Dawn of the Dead. Well, you know, good on you, buddy. Good on you being a working dude. A working stiff. But yeah, I don't know if I really have much else to say about it. I've been talking for a good 17 minutes, so that's a lot of time to talk about this movie. But yeah, it's a good movie. It's better than I remember it being. Like I was always kind of dismissive of 300, to be honest with you. So I'm glad that I got around to rewatching it. Shout out to Prophet, who suggested that I watch 300 for the 300 subs. So there you go, buddy. Thank you for the suggestion. And if anybody else has any suggestions, things you'd like to hear me talk about and bloviate about in the future, go ahead, leave it in the comments. I will get around to it. I'll put it on a list. You know, and if it's special enough, you never know. Might be on Zoobox Goes to the Movies, the big show where we do deep dives on these things. It'll be a lot of fun. It's not just me speaking extemporaneously with light research. All right, everybody. You know what to do. There's a bunch of links in the description. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, our other YouTube channel. Go follow us on DLive if you want to see our live streams, at least up until the mid-May. And also, thanks for watching, and have the best day ever. I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.